Jai Jagannath, President of ICMI, Mr. Naik, Mr. Bhatti, Mr. Mukesh Agrawal, Mr. Anand, Mr. Uttam Naik, and last but not the least, my dear friend Jyoti ji. It was a pleasant surprise to see him welcoming me this morning. I had no clue that he is in Bhubaneswar. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, namaskar. For those of you who are from outside the state of Odisha, welcome to my beautiful state. In fact, we take a lot of pride in saying that Odisha is India's best kept secret. But we don't want to keep it a secret forever. We want to unfold it now for all of you. And of course, to the temple city of Bhubaneswar, it is certainly one of the finest cities in the country. I hope all of you will agree to this. Welcome. Thank you for having me. We politicians get invited to a lot of events almost on a daily basis, whether we know the subject or not. बुलाते हैं कि चीफ गेस्ट बन जाइए. But this is one event which I'm really privileged and delighted to be, because yours is a very respected profession and not everyone can qualify to be called a CMA. It takes a lot of hard work, persistence. But because I'm a politician and I didn't have the competence to be a CMA, I hope what I say will make sense, at least some sense to all of you. I was coming from Delhi a couple of days ago to Bhubaneswar, and I used those 2 hours to go through magazines and newspapers. And a couple of, I was reading Economic Times, and a couple of articles, I think this was about 2 weeks ago, a couple of articles caught my attention, which I think would be relevant for you all. One of the articles was about India's GST collection. India's GST collection crossed 1.25 lakh crore. And I think you should all pat yourself in the back, because I'm sure all of you have some role to play in that. The second news article which caught my attention was, I think it was also mentioned, that we have become the 4th largest economy. In fact, we are the fastest growing large economy in the world today, and our Honorable Prime Minister has a vision of becoming the 3rd largest economy by 2027, which I'm absolutely sure we will be. And the third news article which caught my attention was about, which I will talk at length, because I believe it's something which is very, very relevant to you all. And that's about how law firms have started now declaring how much of artificial intelligence they use in their legal counsel to their clients. And clients have started demanding. And they have started demanding from the lawyers and law firms regarding their AI usage and their data privacy usage. And I'll elaborate on this, why this is relevant to you all. But I'm glad that this national convention is being organized by the institute, and it's being hosted in Bhubaneswar. And after releasing 2 very insightful publications, which I'm looking forward to go through at my leisure, I just saw that your institute's motto is something which is very profound. Asatoma Sadgamaya. From falsehood to truth. Tamosoma Jyotirgamaya, from darkness to light. Mrutyungma, so from death to life. I don't think any other institute would have this kind of motto, which actually speaks volume about the purpose and the commitment that you have for the profession. Now, why I think You have a huge role to play in the making of modern India, because I think the story of your institute is the story of independent India. Really, if you see that your institute was born in 1944, we got independence in 1947. So in a way, the story of independent India is synonymous with the story and the growth of your institute. Though the India chapter, I'm told, was started in 1959, but nevertheless, if someone has to map the growth story, the growth trajectory of our country, then I'm sure your contribution to the success story of India will be written in golden letters. So I think that deserves applause. I will take a couple of minutes to talk about what the future lies in store for all the professionals, not only for CMAs, but it can be generally applied to all the professionals. The world is changing fast, I need not tell you that. It's evolving fast because technology is transformational. Now, when I tell this, people ask me, why is it that only now technology is transformational? Technology has always been transformational, right from the invention of the wheels in the Bronze Ages, to the invention of printing press, to the invention of electricity, to the invention of aeroplane, to the invention of computer, to the invention of even internet. Always technology has evolved and mankind has evolved with the evolution of technology. But now, the difference is that for the first time in human history, we have a technology called artificial intelligence, which is gradually and increasingly developing cognitive power. At no other point in human history had technology any kind of cognitive skills. At no other point in human history was technology autonomous. Increasingly, we see that machines have started becoming and behaving autonomously. We have self-driven cars now. So this is something which is very profound. For the first time, an aeroplane would fly exactly the way the pilots would command it to, or the air traffic controller would ask it to. Electricity would follow exactly the laws of physics. An IC engine would behave exactly the way the manufacturers of that engine would have designed the engine to be. But now, increasingly, we see that machines have started thinking independently and behaving independently. And this is not science fiction anymore. Recently, I had published a book called AI on Trial. I'm shamelessly promoting my book here. The book, it's probably the first of its kind in India, certainly. The book explores the interface of law, technology, and public policy. It explores real-life cases as to how AI models, AI systems, and other emerging technologies, what are the legal liabilities and accountabilities of this kind of models and systems? Taking real-life examples over the last 12 months, all the examples that I've cited in the book are real-life examples, and I'll quote a few of them. So, technology is evolving so fast that unless you keep pace with the rapidly evolving technology, my dear friends, I'm afraid we'll be outdated. The country is changing remarkably and for the better. The world is changing, so we have to keep pace with this changing global landscape. I'm reminded of the very famous quote of Alvin Toffler, who had said very famously that the illiterates of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Just ponder about it for a while. Just think about it. What a profound statement. The 21st century illiterate will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, learn what? Learn new things, learn things which are relevant to your profession. Unlearn those things which are outdated, what you have studied while preparing for your CMA exams or while preparing for your graduation or post-graduation may not be relevant anymore. So you need to unlearn those things. and then relearn new concepts of accounting, new concepts of global practices. Today, CMA are not just expected to be cost and management accountants. You are expected to be leaders of your organization. You are expected to be strategists. Your role, you may be the CFO. Mr. Agrawal is the Director HR of Coal India. Some of you, I'm sure, you all are occupying very top level positions in PSUs and private sector in India and abroad. Mr. Pradeep Das, another dear friend of mine, he's not here today. I think he's also from your profession. He's a very different one. We were together in Ravenshaw University a few years ago. And very, very dear friend. So corporate India, whether in the public sector or private sector, is dominated by CMAs, and you should take a lot of pride in that. But the way the technological, social, economical landscape is changing makes it amply critical that you need to not only be cognizant of these changes, but also to adapt to these changes and be resilient. Today, we are a $4 trillion economy. We are the fourth largest economy in the world already. Just a few weeks ago, we turned the fourth largest from being the fifth largest. In another 2 years, we'll surpass and become the third largest economy. And by 2047, when Honorable Prime Minister has given the call of being a Vikasit Bharat, we'll probably be a $25 to $30 trillion economy, growing at 6.5 to 7% that we are growing today. It's not a joke to have such a large base of $4 trillion economy and to grow at 6.5%. Just think about it. How many countries in the world have this kind of growth? So what does that entail for you? Economic growth brings massive opportunities to your profession. Are you ready to capture these opportunities? Imagine the demography of India. We are the youngest nation on earth. 140 crore people, 1.4 billion, of which 50% people are below 25. That itself is 700 million. 70 crore देशवासी 25 साल से कम हैं. Imagine when this 70 million will grow to become young adults and then middle-aged adult and then start consuming. The impact it will have on corporate India and the impact that will have on the need for competent CMAs. 2/3 of our population is under 35. Startups. We are already the third largest startup hub in the world. We have more than 100 unicorns now. More and more startups are being created on a daily basis. More and more startups are going public. More and more startups will need CMAs, the help of CMAs. You know, there was a report which I read somewhere, I'm not able to recall where I had read it. Almost 350 of the 500 of the 500 BSE companies, BSE 500 of the listed companies, 350 companies are being audited by the Big Six. You know, all of us have heard of Big Four, and then you have two other companies which are added to Grant Thornton, and I forget the sixth one, BD, yes. So these are the Big Six companies who are auditing, and when I say auditing, it doesn't only mean what the chartered accountants do. I'm sure it also incorporates and involves a lot of other activities which CMAs do. So 350 of Indian 500 companies, top 500 companies are being serviced by Big Six who are not Indian companies. So this is a huge drain of our national resource. Our money, our capital is going to outsiders. Why can't we have Indian entities who can compete with the Big Six? Can you think big? Can you create, when I say you, maybe not individually, but can your profession, can CMAs, can we have Indian entities who are able to compete with the Deloittes and the Grant Thorntons of the world? So that the 350 BSE companies which are being serviced by these Big Six and our precious national resource is going abroad, that can stop. So we need to think big. You know, that's the motto of your organization, from darkness to light, from falsehood to truth. So I really urge you that the time has come for us to think big. For a long while, we Indians have mitigated our thought process. We have always, I don't blame anyone. That was the reality. When we got independence, only 11% of Indian population was literate. So obviously there was no scope for us to think big. But today we are in a situation we can really think big. Corporate India is thinking big. So do the professionals. So the biggest transformation, as I've mentioned at the outset, which will impact every profession, including the profession of CMA, is artificial intelligence. Trust me, it's going to bring massive, massive upheaval in the way you operate and you work. I'm not trying to scare you, but trying to just put out the reality. Some of you might have heard that a very amusing, let me cite a very amusing incident that happened. The Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, ITAT Bangalore bench, recently gave a judgment, pronounced a judgment. Now, why is the judgment, why do I say it's an amusing incident? What is so funny about the judgment which was pronounced by ITAT Bangalore bench? You know, so it was a dispute between two parties, and the bench decided to use ChatGPT to write its judgment. So what the bench members did, they used the written submission of both the parties as input to the AI model, ChatGPT in this case. And the ChatGPT gave a judgment citing 3 Supreme Court judgments and 1 Madras High Court judgment. The funny thing is, neither the parties were in existence, nor the Supreme Court judgments were in existence, nor the Madras High Court judgment was in existence. ChatGPT is, at the end of the day, a couple of lines of code. And the ChatGPT, the application hallucinated and gave a judgment citing non-existent judicial precedents. Of course, Supreme Court took a very, very serious view of this, and the bench members were asked to go on a training. And the Supreme Court the Apex Court has said that no court will use any AI application to write judgments. Why I mention this? The reason I mention this is because you will be using maybe ChatGPT, maybe Microsoft Copilot, or maybe any other application for your day-to-day work. So though these applications, these models are going to help us in our profession, we need to be aware of the pitfalls. We need to be aware of the flip side also. But it's going to impact. You cannot escape it. You have to start updating your skills. Many routine jobs will be redundant. Increasingly, law firms have started using AI models, AI systems for their paralegal work. I'm often asked whether lawyers will be redundant, whether judges will start using AI models to write the judgments. And I cite this example of the ITAT bench Bangalore. Because no matter how advanced technology will be, and I said this at the beginning, that technology has started developing cognitive power, more and more cognitive power. They have started behaving like human beings. But still, there is something called common sense. But my friends, most of the routine tasks, most of the routine jobs will be redundant, will be done by AI applications. So we need to reskill ourselves. We have to reskill ourselves to survive in this new world. And no sector will be immune from it, whether it's the healthcare, whether it's the education sector, whether it's the legal fraternity, or whether it's the cost and management accountancy. Every sector is going to be penetrated by artificial intelligence, and every sector is going to be impacted by it. So not only your professional skills, but your technological skills will be relevant. You need to learn the nuances of using AI applications. In fact, There is now huge debate about the violation of copyright laws, copyright of AI, whether the data that is being fed into AI to build the models or to refine the models, to train the models, whether it's violation of copyright. I'm sure all of you give lot of counsel, lot of advice to your clients. Now, if that data is fed into any AI model to train the application and to create products, is that violation of copyright? Who is the owner of the output? Any AI generated output, who is the owner of that output? In your case, when you give your advice, you know that you are the output, you are the author, you are the owner of that output. But in the case of artificial intelligence, who is the owner of the output? Because as per Indian Copyright Law Act 1957, only human beings can be author of any copyright. Only human beings can be owner of any copyright. And AI models and AI systems are not human beings. They are not legal persons. In fact, my book advocates that we have to start giving legal personhood to AI models and AI systems. In the absence of any legal personhood or legal legal person definition for AI, there are a lot of legal challenges that are going to come up. Last February 2024, very tragic incident in the US, a teenager in the US, 14-year-old boy committed suicide. The teenager befriended a chatbot, AI chatbot, called character.ai. The name of the chatbot was character.ai, and became so engrossed in this virtual world, and it kept doing stuff which the AI chatbot prompted it to do. And then in October 2024, very unfortunately, the chatbot asked the teenager to commit suicide, and the boy did commit suicide. And now, of course, the mother of the boy has sued Google and the owner of the chatbot. Now, the problem is, AI chatbot is not a legal person. In every jurisdiction, abetment to suicide is a crime. So is in India. Under Section 306 Indian Penal Code, of course, now it's replaced by Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, but Section 306 Indian Penal Code defines abetment of suicide, and it's a crime, it's a cognizable offense. But only human beings can be accused. In this case, who do you accuse? Because the chatbot is not a legal person. So whether the company which owns that chatbot can be sued, whether engineers sitting in Bangalore who have written the lines of code, whether they are culpable, we don't know. These are issues which will come and become more and more relevant. From tragic to comic. In Shanghai, in the month of November last year, a senior robot motivated 12 junior robots to go on a strike. Can you believe this? Just Google this and find it out. You know, the senior robot, by leveraging data, realized that the owner of that factory where the senior robot was working is making it work more than other robots working in other factories. And then the senior robot convinced 12 young robots to go on a strike. Probably the first instance of robot industrial action or robot strike. So the reason I cite this example, thank you. The reason I cite this example is to stress upon the fact that where we are heading. Just realize where we are heading. So AI is no ordinary tool. It's unlike any other invention or unlike any other innovation that we have witnessed. So you need to be aware of where the world is heading and be aware of the profound transformation that is bringing to every profession, including the profession of CMA. And please update yourself. constant learning is the key. If there is one message that I would like to leave you with this morning, it's that that's the only way to outshine others in your profession, constant learning. I'll end by quoting Warren Buffett, which I'm sure all of you have heard of. When he was asked when he would stop working, I think he's 92 now, or maybe 93. When he was asked when he would stop working, he very famously had said that the day after he dies. That's a very, very famous quote. And he often jokes that his wife calls him a learning machine with two legs. So if someone like Warren Buffett, who need not work, I think he can, with the kind of wealth he has, he can probably live comfortably for maybe 1 lakh lives. But if he is working every day with the dedication and the zeal, then I think all of us should. And Mr. Naik, I have taken note of your concerns and some of your suggestions, which I will definitely put in the right forum. And I thank you again for inviting me. And I will end by saying that there was never a better time to be an Indian. I genuinely believe so. This is our era. I genuinely believe that the next 20, 30 years belong to our country. The next 20 years, 20, 25 years belong to India. So seize the opportunity, make the best of these glorious years that are ahead of us. And don't be scared of technology, but be prepared for the massive landslide that is coming. Thank you.